Bonjour, 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 and welcome to another day for Speed the Summit. Oh my gosh, we are in for a treat today. So Speed, what is this summit about? It's all about strategizing to use time, to use money, mindset, time management, performance for driven entrepreneurs. And today we have drumroll Kim Thompson. So Kim, thank you so much. Thank you for being here today with us and giving us your time. And why don't you introduce yourself to the audience and tell us what you do and how do you help people?
Sure, absolutely. My name's Kim Thompson, and I am a business and performance coach primarily for female entrepreneurs that are in the service-based industry. So coaches, consultants, estheticians, interior designers, accountants, etc., service-based primarily, that are trying to really grow their business. And so they might be getting a little frustrated because they aren't quite seeing the traction in their business that they want to, and they feel like they're working a heck of a lot more hours than they intended to when they first started out. So I'm really great at helping them with understanding how to charge higher pricing and also, really what their value is, and also how to automate things by using systems and having a really solid foundation in place. And that is primarily what I do. I have built 3 of my own businesses and grown them to multiple 6 figures. And that's what led me into starting to help others do that.
Oh, that's amazing. What are the 3 things then you would say, like, then you see, then people, that's holding people back into entrepreneurship? Like, what are some of the mistakes that they make or what they think they want and versus what is it really then, then their purpose is?
Yeah. I think the number one thing is that people get caught up in their own inner voices, their inner
Mhm.
chat, and everything starts with that. You know this. It all starts in mind first. And oftentimes when people come into entrepreneurship, they come in because they want usually freedom first. And then that's followed by financial freedom. So the idea is I'm so tired of working for somebody else. I have this desire, but I don't quite know how to bring it to fruition. And then they think, well, okay, all I have to do is start taking what my area of expertise is and start charging for it, and I can start building a business. But what happens is they get caught in this trap of trading those dollars for hours, right? And so, or hours for dollars. And so now they might be charging 150, 250 for consulting services or whatever it may be. And so they may think, okay, I started at 60 or 75, I'm doing a lot better, but you can only grow to the extent that you can take on people. And so if you can only see 10 people in a day, it's going to be very hard to really build that business. And so I think what happens is they get caught up first in this idea of, well, I can only charge so much. And
Mhm.
so they diminish their own value. And that's an inside job. If you're only used to making 100,000 a year and you say, hey, I'm ready to start my own business, man, and I've seen other people do it and I'm going to make 500,000 or a million a year, absolutely you can get there. Absolutely. You know that as well as I do, but there are incremental steps, and the degree that you can get it in your mind first, then you can get there faster. But you can't get there just by mind alone. You have to have the steps and a plan in place. So the number one thing I think is the mindset, is really getting clear on what your vision is and then really anchoring into that vision, because then you start setting up the systems. And that's the number 2. I think the second thing that trips people up is they don't have a solid foundation. They don't have systems in place. And everything in this world operates on systems. Like if you think about a restaurant can't possibly grow their business unless they know how many people come in on a regular basis, what nights are their busiest, what type of entrees are being served the most, what are people ordering, what do they like, because then they know how much food to order and they know what type of food to order and they know their food prep. You can't know how many people to hire to serve unless you know your numbers, and that comes from also having a system in place. So everything has to operate on a system, and the faster you can get a system down, you can start to expand your business, because your system really starts to become in a sense, your sales team. And it doesn't necessarily mean bodies of people. It can be automated things, right? But it can be a combination of those things. And I think the third thing is that we don't believe in our own value, and we charge too low a rate. And so what happens
Mm.
is that we start kind of like the first area where we get caught up in the mindset. We start thinking, okay, I can charge X amount and bring these clients in monthly, but we don't think about the long-term lifetime customer value. And so we have to start thinking in terms of how can I retain these clients and have them continue to work with me and continue to take them on this journey that's really getting them their value. Because just like we have a vision of where we want to go, there are incremental steps that take us to where we want to go that give us little wins along the way. Like if you say, okay, I want to make $1 million, and all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I've had my first $40,000 month. That's a huge win. Same thing for your clients. Clients need to have these little wins along the way. And the faster we can do that, the faster then we can start to keep increasing our lifetime customer value. And that's so important if you want to scale a business.
So powerful, so powerful. Love that you say that. Talk to us about, you said something, then I, as in, I see all the time, it's people don't know their numbers. And you said, know your numbers. Can you touch on that? Because can you touch on the importance that it is to know your numbers? Because how can you know where you want to go? I mean, everybody, has the vision. Oh, I want 6-figure, 7-figure, or whatever. They come up with the numbers, but you ask them where they're at now, and they can't tell you. Can you address why is it so important to know?
One of the most important things I think that people can do on a regular basis, and this kind of goes back to money mindset, and that is looking at your bank account daily. Because I think what happens is people get so scared to even look at their bank account daily. And so what I tell my clients is like, listen, when we're going to start getting into understanding profit and profit strategies and understanding your numbers, I want you to first take a look at, make a promise that you will look at your bank account daily, and sometimes 3 times a day. Why do I do that? Because it's starting to get you in the habit of looking at your numbers and seeing what those numbers are. And then of course you can create the vision and say, okay, I want you to add a 0 to that, or a second 0 or third 0, etc. But it's just starting to get them in the habit of saying, oh, numbers are really important. Because when you can look at your bank account, you can say, what are my expenses? And then you look through and you say, wow, if my expenses of running this business are $5,000 a month, which I'm going to tell you, even though it's very easy to get started as an entrepreneur now because of everything we have automated and online systems and your reach is so big, everything adds up. You want to get a calendar, sometimes you can get the free one, but then you might have to bump up. You want an email autoresponder. Okay, you can start. I always tell people start free with MailChimp, 2,000 subscribers free. Start with that and then bump up. But eventually those things add up, and pretty soon you've got 15 $12.99 charges. That adds up. Running your website.
Zoom.
It adds up. And if you don't write that down,
that's right.
You have to write that down, because it's very easy to look at it and say, oh my God, I just landed my client and I'm now charging them. I've got 3 clients at $250 a month and I'm starting, right? Okay, right. That's going to go out like that. So you have to look at what is it going to take to not only cover your expenses, and where maybe can you cut some of those expenses? You might not need those.
That's right.
And where then is it going to, or what does it take you now to actually jump above that so that you're actually getting profit? Because if you don't know your numbers, you cannot set your goal. You can't, and you aren't going to get yourself closer to that goal. So many entrepreneurs come into it and just start thinking, I got to start making some money.
Yeah.
But they don't realize how much of that is being spent just in operating the business. And so you want to make sure that you streamline some of it until you're ready to grow. And then you can start adding on other things, but you want to start getting yourself into profit first. That's Beautiful. So important when you're building a business. That's why so many businesses close.
That's right. That's right. I love the language that you speak, because it's being real. Right. Yeah. And this, in our company, every 6 months, we do what I call sweeping. And, what does sweeping mean? It's, we look at where is there anything that we still have out there that we have not, taking a look at, then it's maybe not beneficial. If we have not used it in the past 6 months, it gets to go. And then when we want it back, we get it back. But I love that you said that.
That's an important point, Katja. That's so important, because so often we think, oh my God, if I let this go, then I don't know if I might use it, I might not use it. But if you look at it, like, I love that 6 months. and you say, okay, if I haven't used it, I'm just wasting money. I went through recently and I'm like, I'm paying $99 for something that I haven't touched in 3 months. I'm paying $28 a month for something that I haven't looked at in probably a year. And eventually a year, okay, I'm over $300 with that. It adds
That's
up.
right. That's right.
And you
Well,
go,
and what the reason we do this, I believe it's because, you know, we got, I mean, there was something that we had, and who's, you know, about technology, who we had gotten at a great price. So, you know, like, and now obviously everything's going up, but I was like, if we have not used it in 6 months, sorry, no amount of money, even if it's more, if it's like $50 more a month, like
right.
at the end. So I love them, you know, taking a look at numbers. There's many people in the audience who are starting into their business, and they don't know where to start. What would you tell them? What is they're like, oh, I'm toying with the idea, but I don't know, because yes, like you talked about, I want the freedom, but you know, with the inflation and the economy, I don't know. What is the first step then you would say to them before they even start?
Number one is don't buy into what's out there in the world right now. Mentally, you have to be strong and stay in your own lane. And first and foremost, realize that you create your own reality. That's a given. That's scientifically proven. So put on the blinders. Number two, really get connected to your vision. And what I find oftentimes is people say, I don't really know what I want to do. I just want to start a business. I have this desire and I just want to do something. I have all these ideas. And we've heard the term before coined multi-passion entrepreneur.
Mhm.
Yes, many of us have umpty-ump ideas and things that we know that we could probably really build into something successful, but we have to start somewhere. And it's almost like when you step out into entrepreneurship, it's like Tony Robbins says this in Awaken the Giant. I think one of his very first books is that it's like the shackles are gone. And it's like, oh my God. And all these ideas come bombarding into our mind, right? And we think, oh my gosh, I could do this and this and this. You could, but everybody has a success in one area first. So you have to think in those terms. You can still do those things or offshoots of those things, but you first want to put on the blinders and do one thing first. And that starts by really getting connected to your vision. And if you don't know what your business is yet and that vision, start with your life vision, meaning, what do you want your life to look like? Sit down and take the time. And I don't care if you have to take 2 or 3 days. I always tell people, put a deadline on it, because your mind will focus on that deadline and it will do everything in its power to make sure that you meet that deadline. But if you sit there and you go, oh, I'm just going to take some time today, or I'll take some time today, or I'll take a week, or no. If you really want to get a business going, you have to really be specific as to what it is that you want your life to look like.
Right.
Set that deadline for it so that you say, by the end of this week, I'm going to have a plan set up as to maybe at least what I'd like my life to look like. What do I want to feel like when I get up in the morning? Do I want to go into an office that I've created where I have employees? Do I want to go downstairs into my office or into my studio or into my garage that I've made into an office, and
Right.
I'm calling my VA or my independent contractor? Or am I starting by myself first? And how long is it going to take me where I feel like I need to hire somebody to help me? And you have to set those things up, but that comes first by understanding, what does your day-to-day look like? What does it feel like for you? When I first started my business on the online space, I had my own business early on. I owned a franchise in personal development and sales training. And I had excelled in sales, and my clients were hiring me to train their sales teams. And so it kind of led me down that road. And then later on, I thought, well, I'm really going to test my feet in the, online space. And I started an online magazine primarily for the hospitality industry. Again, this is part of understanding what you're going to do where people get tripped up when they start. Get connected to your vision. If you don't know your business vision, connect to your life vision. Then you kind of take it back into your business vision. Who are the people you want to work with? Really understand who your target audience is. That's so important. I started an online magazine and I had that personal development franchise and I had the sales training and I knew so much about that, but I'm like, oh my God, I'm swimming in this huge sea with Forbes, Inc., Success Magazine. Like, what am I going to do? Even though I knew I wanted to talk more motivation and personal development, but I had a strong background in the event industry and doing a lot of training and sales management in events and high level incentive events. So I created the magazine for meeting planners, but very specific incentive travel, incentive group travel. That
Mm,
allowed me to then, because I was so focused on my niche, I first of all started, what will my day look like? I knew I wanted to get up in the morning and take my time and ease into the day, not rush off to appointments and all of that. But it allowed me then to call in advertising dollars or attract advertising dollars from very high level hotels like Marriott and Hilton. They subsidize this whole publication. But I also had all these other ideas, and it was like, wow, you have to allow your mind to play with that. Again, multi-passion entrepreneur. Do I want to build this magazine into a franchise? Do I want to do sales trainings with it? You kind of have to
yeah,
play with that.
yeah,
And it goes back to, what do you want your life to look like?
right.
And I had to really go into, well, this doesn't serve that area of what I feel like my life's going to look like. I don't want to get on a plane and open up new franchises everywhere. I'm done doing that in that stage of my life. But what it led me to do by sitting down, kind of playing with that, I created 3 different income sources from one idea.
There you
Because
go.
that magazine led me to do content development. These hotels, these venues were saying, wow, I love what you wrote in the magazine. Can you guys develop content for us? Well, that allowed me to bring on other people as writers, create a whole nother source of income. From that, I started my production company. I already was well versed in that area. I knew my destination. And I'm like, I have so many people in this area that I can bring on as independent contractors. So the production company is still running high level incentive events, red carpet media events. That's running like it's a well-oiled
Yeah,
machine now. Again, automated. I understand it, not automated like, webinar
right,
automation.
right, right, right.
I have a team in place that is so dialed in that
Yeah,
we know what to do and how to do it. And we have the plan in place. Didn't start without a plan though. And
that's
without
right. That's right. Going back to vision, like knowing your vision. I love that you mentioned that. I could go on like for hour. I adore talking, talking with you. But let me ask you, did you by any chance come bearing gift?
I did. Yeah.
Tell us about it. Tell us about it.
Yes, I have a upcoming, actually on May 25th, Wednesday, May 25th, I'm doing a live masterclass, and
Ooh,
it is called Business Builders. It's Business Builders Boot Camp. And we actually have I sent you guys the link to it. Basically what it is learning how to really clarify your offer so you can start charging your premium pricing. And that's so important
ooh.
because people get caught up in, I don't really know, what am I putting out there? How do I do this? How do I package my
How
price?
much? How much? And if it's so low, is it too low? So guys, click on the link right below and to grab the video. That is so generous. That this is something, and again, this is looking at what we were talking about behind the scene, right? She's totally catering to the needs of, really understand the audience and understand her avatar, right? She understand who's her ideal, her ideal clients. And beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. If you had to leave them with one thing, what would that be? If you had to leave the audience with one thing.
I am an absolute firm believer that if you have a desire in your heart, you absolutely have the ability to bring that desire to fruition. The very word desire comes from Latin, of the sire of the father. And I am a
Mm,
firm believer that there's a universal energy I call God that gives us these desires. And it is not there to tease you. It is there because you have the ability, but it doesn't come until you actually start to believe in that. And you know that you can absolutely bring that to fruition.
absolutely beautiful. Mic drop, mic drop. Guys, I am so honored. Kim, thank you for your time. Thank you for your tips. Thank you for your strategies and your nuggets. And guys, go ahead and take her up on this masterclass. And I will see you next time with another amazing guest. Thanks so much, Kim.
Bye. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Bye.